What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Philip 20 right here. This is what's going on today. We have a Midnite Classic 150 charge controller. Yes, look at this monster. Oh, yeah. And that thing is fixing to get mounted right here beside our Bitcoin miner. It's going to get mounted right on the magnesite Magnum inverter. And we're going to mount it, and it's going to have a power input hole right here. Or it might be right here. Whichever one fits correctly. And then we're going to put our breakers in here. We've got our ground fault protection breaker right here. And that's going to go in. We can go ahead and install that. And we're going to mount that classic charge controller today. I'm going to get rid of this terrible mess. I was going to show you our Magnum controller thingy, which is kind of cool. It's not really too important to me, except for one feature. And what I wish the Magnum had on it, which is simple enough. Magnum, please, just set it up where the charging system can be turned off from right here. I want to turn the charging system off from right here instead of spending money on this. So, whenever I flip this for the pass-through, it doesn't turn off everything and start charging. I just want it to charge with the solar array. You should have an auto setup. So you can see we've got 20 amps or so. I turned that Bitcoin miner on earlier. It was 47 amps coming out of the house. Right there. Voltage drop is near zero with 2 Chevy Volt car batteries. Look at that. 33 kilowatts of power right there. That is awesome. But I only back it off to about 24 kilowatts. I have a total of 33. Why ain't I using it all? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to start using it. I need to put this balancing system together. Gosh, people in the comments, how bad do I need a balancing system on this whole battery bank? You need to get on me. So we've got our original panel. I'm going to wire it up to the same wiring specification as this panel is, except I'm just going to do it in this box. That's the only difference. We're going to take the same wiring schematic and use it in the Magnum box. And then we're going to charge our batteries on the same wiring schematic. The only drawback to this is I don't have my shunt inside that box. I have to pull a wire, and then I'll just pull it to the top here. I'll just pull it out through conduit and then into the top of this one for the negative output or whatever it is that goes to the shunt. That way they're both on the shunt correctly, and then both of them measure amp hours and watt hours and blah blah blah. This has its own measuring for amps. So right now it's doing well. Don't buy this junk. God, don't buy this junk. I'm just gonna take that out and put some wire to the thing itself. I mean, my wind turbine makes power, just not a lot. Whoop-de-doo. So we got this thing, and it works. And we got this, and it's gonna work. I'm gonna wire it up to the same wiring diagram as what comes on the Midnite Solar M. Here it is right there. It's the MNDC 250. It's all got the same wiring schematic for the MNDC 125, 175, and the 250, except that it's got a 250 amp breaker. And when I was running DC, you have to have a giant breaker if it's lower voltage. Like, I would have to have a 500 amp breaker to pull thousands of watts through one inverter, like 10,000 watts, 12,000 watts, which is a fire hazard. It's a serious fire hazard if you're pulling 500 amps through anything inside of your house. See, I'm powering my entire house except for the heat pump and the stove. and that's about to change. I'm going to start running the fan, a compressor that is for a window unit, and I'm going to wire it up on the outdoor unit because I'm a refrigeration technician. So I can take the compressor out of this unit, take it to the outdoor unit, take a power wire to the other side of the wall, and start powering a compressor, run refrigerant lines in the house through over to there, and then hook up an evaporator coil, just like I would a normal split system. Since I know everything about air conditioning to do that, it will be very, very simple for me to do it. It's just very important for me to size the evaporator coil correctly. So I'll do that, but I'll make sure the evaporator coil size is super perfect. Now, if I get a bigger evaporator coil, I might be able to run a heat pump system. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? A heat pump system with the Magnuson inverter. That would be so cool. But I'm putting that 6.5 kilowatts of power on here so I can run this monster right here. This thing pulls about 1,500 watts continuous, 24 hours a day. And I want it to pull 1,500 watts continuous, 24 hours a day. And if I'm not mistaken, this has a 12 volt, 100 amp output. 12 volt, 133 amp output. So the yellow wires are 12 volt positive, the black wires are 12 volt negative. Is it possible for me to build a battery system that's just 12 volts that runs this continuously and charges the 12 volt battery as well? So that's 233 amps plus 100 amp for charging for on-off periods of time. Would it be safe if I could keep the voltage at a perfect voltage output of this one? I would be happy with that if I could get it to work. But that depends on if we can find the right kind of battery. A Chevy Volt, half of a Chevy Volt 24 volt battery would probably work, and that would be super cool. But that's the whole point is, I'm trying to run this. If I don't have to invert power for this, and I can run, charge a 12 volt battery simply off of my 48 volt bank, then that would be super cool. I don't have to invert the power, run the inverter, lose the efficiency. I just hook up these wires to a 12 volt circuit. That would be so awesome. Can you just imagine that? I should check the voltage on that thing when it's running. We'll find out what the voltage is some other time. But I'm super excited to get the 6.5 kilowatts going. I'm going to start mounting the Classic up here today. And then we'll get started on the next part. I got to mount some unistrut on the roof for the solar panels. And I'm limited on space on the roof. I'm absolutely sure I'm going to run out of space. And I might run out of wire. Please don't run out of wire. Please. Knock on wood. Well, this is Phil 20, letting you guys know I am getting started today when I don't have a lot of time. Lawn mowing with my solar powered lawnmower. That's right. Solar powered. It plugs into the solar power system. See, it's plugged in there. That's plugged in. And then if you go to the cord, you go over here, it's plugged in the wall, which that is solar powered. But every receptacle in my house is solar powered. Now, you see one thing, how I tell you my air conditioning system don't run on the solar array. There's the fan right there. And here's the main panel. I'm going to turn it off. And now, I turn the main panel off, and the lights are still on. And my washing machine, lights are still on, but the main panel's off, but the air conditioner don't come on. That's because I can't start the compressor with an 8,000 watt surge inverter. You need a 56,000 watt surge system to start the compressor at my house. Unless you get what they call an inverter compressor. And that's a soft start compressor. So, if it's a soft start compressor, then that's awesome. But it is expensive, and you're not going to have those compressors in stock in town if one goes bad, or one of the circuit boards. It's just a pain in the butt. In my opinion, get an affordable system that can start. That's a simple compressor, like this one. This is a PTAC unit. I think it's 10,000 BTUs. It's probably a 10,000 BTU. It's R410A. And it starts on 230 volts. It's even got their 230 volt plug. Yeah. So, if you can get a compressor that starts on your solar array, and you've got a system that can be balanced at 230 volts a lot better, then hook up your 230 volts to the system. It is more efficient to run 230 volts on a magnesign than 110 volts because it draws twice as many amps. That's why building a system that's higher voltage is safer, because the wires don't catch on fire whenever you put too thin of a wire by accident. If you put 2,000 watt load on a thin wire that's 12 volts, it's going to catch on fire. But I digress. Let's move forward. Here we go. We got our awesome setup going. Oh my gosh, it's 12 minutes. Well, this is Philip 20. I'll see you later. Peace out.